love to go to school. Me becoming a child actor was very, very accidental. I've said it many times before. It was Hema Malini's mother, Mrs. Jaya Chakravarti, we used to fondly call her and remember her as Mummy Ji. She actually asked me to act. I used to be a regular visitor to Hemaji's place. How I used to visit the place or why I used to visit her residence very often, I really don't know. But I think my brother, my first brother, was friends with Hemaji's nephew, and that is how I used to tag along with my brother, I think. And that is how I got into. I mean, I was in contact with Jayaji, and she used to see me playing around in the house, eating my first set of idlis and dosa and sambar at Hemaji's place. So that is when Mamiji asked me if I wanted to be an actor. And my only condition was that, fine, but then I should be given a cup of ice cream every day. And Ravi Chopra, sir, who was directing The Burning Frame, he really liked me. And he said, yeah, he promised me that he'll give me a cup of ice cream every day. And that is how my journey as a child actor uh, began. But as a child, you're growing up and you're surrounded by the best of stars you have seen only on screen. I mean, you're surrounded by Amitabh Bachchan, you're surrounded by Jitendra, you have Shatrughan Sinha, Praveen Bobby, Reena Roy, you have Zeenat Aman, and then you have Hema Malini herself. And you name them, whether it's Amjad Khan or Denny Densongpa, even the character actors, the best of them, the cream of actors, you're surrounded by them. So that was a huge thing. And nobody treated you like you're a child actor, so you're different. But then everyone treated you equally. They used to be so fond of me, taking care of me. So I think that was a fun thing for me. Yes, the responsibility was given to me because one fine day my dad decided that he doesn't want to be part of family. But I'm glad that the responsibility came at such an early age because, when the responsibilities are given at such an early age, you realize that you're made of a sterner stuff. And I don't think my strength would be, you know, the way I see over so many years, my strength, 36 years, or 34 years rather, since the responsibility of the family came on me. The strength has actually grown, at every phase, every year, step by step. So if the responsibilities had not fallen on me, probably I wouldn't be such a strong person today. My first Silver Jubilee came at the age of two Silver Jubilees came at the age of 16. My Golden Jubilee came at the age of 17. And then again, a lot of Silver Jubilees and 100 days came at the age of 19. Of course, Chinnathambi changed the entire track for Tamil cinema in 1991. So I was 21 then. So I think I saw the best of my career right from 16, 17 till I was in my 30s. So I've seen the best of my films, best of my work. I saw that. Handling the success was very easy because I was so busy with my work. I didn't allow the success go to my head, and I didn't even have the time to think that I am successful. It's just that you were going from one location to the other location. The only time you knew you're successful is like you open the Tamil daily newspaper and Dinatandi, and you see, your posters are there or your photographs are there. Or every Friday in Dinatandi, you read which is the next film, the next you're playing a lead opposite Rajnikant. The next you're playing a lead opposite Kamal. You're playing a lead opposite Prabhu and Karthik and Satyaraj, Vijayakant. So those were the perks. Yes, every Friday you see your name there. But otherwise, I think it was very normal because you're working and you didn't have the time to think that you're successful. Absolutely. Many a times, I feel so bad where that from a very young age, parents decide that this is how their children have to grow up and this is the route they have to take. They decide, okay, right from the childhood, he or she will be a doctor. Oh, my child is going to be an engineer. Oh, my child is going to do this. I mean, the dreams which you're not able to fulfill all for yourself, you start dreaming about it in your children. Over a period of time, kids can be very interested in science. People can be very interested in maths. But as they grow, they find some other different routes which they find far more interesting. Like my elder daughter, She did her culinary in London. Now she's doing her fashion designing. But she is the gold medalist from her school in her ninth standard in science. Had I pushed her and said that no, you have to take only science, probably she wouldn't be comfortable. She's completely different now. Her roots are different. Her thinking is different. She's growing up. She's 20. So I can't expect my child to do, like my younger one, I can't expect her to follow the path which I follow or follow the path which her dad follows. She's interested in makeup, and not even once she asked me that, Amma, is this how you do a makeup? She, like you said, she's a self-taught person. In fact, I ask her that how you do makeup, and she corrects me. So, there's a sense of pride. Of course, she has kept her ambition on hold because she's in her 12th and she needs to concentrate on her studies. But then I think it's very important for parents to understand that it's fine for children to take a gap. It's fine for children to follow their dreams. You should be supportive. You should be there. Allow your children to, spread their wings and fly higher rather than clipping their wings and saying that, no, this is the limit and you can't go beyond that. Probably many might say that, oh, your thinking is different because you're successful. But I think if I was not allowed to fly high, I wouldn't be here today. If my husband wasn't allowed to follow his dream, he wouldn't be here today. Both of us come from a very humble background. Both of us have struggled a lot to come to the position we are in today. We have seen the hard times. But I think we had the passion, we had a dream, we knew that we could succeed. And that is how we want our children. Of course, we give them all that they want. What all we were denied in our growing up times, the kind of hardship we have seen, we don't want our children to go through that. And I think any parent would love to provide everything for their child when they're doing well. But I think it's important that you allow the child to grow, evolve, most importantly, evolve. You can grow overnight, but you have to evolve. You have to understand your passion. We have seen people completing their degrees and coming into films. We have seen people getting into films and saying, I'm not interested. I'm more interested in academics. And then going back to, to finish their education. So I think it's just that you give them a thought, you give them the freedom to choose what they want to choose. So there was no paparazzi, there was no Facebook, there was no, I mean, not so much, but there was no Twitter, there was no Instagram, there was none of these, at their fingertips kind of a social media. And I think we never carried our work back home. Most importantly, we never discussed work at home. We don't keep even a single shield or an award at home. The complete house is filled up with family pictures, mainly girls' pictures. So it's more of a very normal family, what we see. So they never affected. In fact, I stopped working once my kids were born. For a very long time, I didn't do any films. So for a very long time, my daughter didn't know that I was an actor. They knew that Amma does television. They were clueless that I was a big star or I've done films. There's a temple in my name. There's been a huge fan following. They were completely unaware of it. Uh, I used to take them to public places and people used to throng to get autographs and photographs. And they used to find it so weird that why people are thronging to get my pictures, why they are so excited to see me. And they actually went and asked a few of them, I said, why are you always taking pictures of my mother and taking her autograph? And they used to be surprised. They say, your mother's a big star. And they were like, Amma, no, I think you've got a wrong person. So, that is how they have been and they have grown up in that kind of atmosphere. So paparazzi, no, we never go around with a baggage. So they were perfectly fine with it. So I think we women decide to take it a little easier way. Uh, we understand very well that how family is extremely important. And I personally believe that a woman can make or break a family. I wanted to make a family. So I took a sabbatical. I took a break from films. I took a break from work and worked in my own comfort zone. My own production house is what I did because I didn't want the other producers to suffer. And then coming back, I mean, you tell us now that I have to run around the trees or I have to do something. Probably I'm a little uncomfortable at a love scene, which my daughters might feel a little uncomfortable, or my husband or my in-laws might feel a little uncomfortable. Of course, my husband is in films, he is a director himself, so he would understand. But I don't want any kind of an embarrassment to anybody else in the family, especially my girls. So I choose the kind of characters, and I think that is how most of the women they think it has to be. I mean, the thought is the same. Every individual has a different thought. My thought is this: I don't want to put my kids or anybody in my family in a very uncomfortable position. Actually, the question should be rephrased. How am I able to manage so much of work despite spending so much of time with my children? See, my first priority are my kids. My family is my first priority. But now, since they've grown up, they have their own set of friends, they have their own life. Like I said, my first one is in London, so she is not with us. She spends once in 4 months, she comes home and she spends some time with us. Or there are times when probably she takes 6 months to come back. The younger one is in 12th and her final exams are coming up. So, yes, I need to be at home. I need to be with her. She'll be 18 in coming Jan. So, every mother would understand what it is to have two teenage daughters who's just on the verge of coming out of a teen, and the other one who's 20. It can be extremely demanding, and my children are no different. Um, Work-wise, yes, like I said, I take up work only when I'm comfortable. Like right now, I'm off work. Any of my acting assignments, whether it is television or movies, uh, television, of course, it's been almost 10 months now. I've not taken up anything. Movies, after 10 years, I took up one with Rajni Saranate, and I'm almost done with it, just 3 or 4 days of work left. But um, I love spending time at home. We have a production house. I take care of that production house. And of course, my political career. So politics is what takes up most of my time now. But that too only when there are party meetings or there's some work assigned, I do that. But otherwise, I'm at home. Like I said, the question should be rephrased. How do I manage to do so much of work despite being at home? Anything, watching movies, or doing nothing. Just the kids will be lying on me and doing their thing, and I'll be working. Or even me cleaning up the room, and they're sitting in the same room, is like we love spending time. One word and they're there. Or they keep demanding, Amma, make this for us. Amma, make tea. Amma, give me milk. Amma, make some food. Amma, bake something. So whatever they keep demanding, I keep doing it for them. And they keep me on my toes. Trust me, they really do keep me on my toes. So I just love doing things for them. And kids, when mothers are around, they always become kids. Even for little things, they want a mother to do it. Even if they want a glass of water, they think, meh, anyway, no, that's how the kids are. So I love doing that for my children. And that is how we love to spend time, doing nothing but being together. We were at home 24/7. We were at home. We were sitting and watching films or some kind of web series till 3 or 4 in the morning, waking up late, having breakfast together, lunch together, dinner together. And my daughter was here during this pandemic time. So she was with us for 6 months. I think we all complained that we were not getting to spend time together. Every year, we generally take off for at least a month on a family holiday. Me, kids, my husband. We always take off for a month somewhere abroad. But this time we couldn't even do that. So we were happy we were at home. And I was doing all the work. My daughter, since she's done her culinary, she's a very good cook. So she was cooking something every day. And then my daughter and my husband realized that she's a far better cook than me. And they said that I have been cheating them all these years, trying to say that I'm a good cook. But then my daughter, in these 6 months, she's spoiled my reputation and she's gone back. So my daughter, my younger one, refuses to even have tea. She said, "You can't make the way Avantika makes, so I don't want to have tea till Avantika comes back." So this is the way my reputation is being completely tarnished by my daughters. And I'm happy with that. Listening to the kids. We as parents can never be always right. We do tend to make mistakes. We do tend to go wrong. But listening to the children, it opens up to understand understand their side of thinking, their way of thinking. We always say, you're a kid. What do you know? I know better. I'm a parent. No, you can be wrong. The times have changed. And this is what I have learned with my kids, that times have changed. You have to learn to listen to them. The way my kids argue with me, the way they have things to say. I would even think today of arguing with my mother. But then times have changed and you have to learn that. And I'm glad that my kids belong to this generation where they have the courage to question and get their point of view being heard by the parent. And I'm very happy that the way my girls are independent and they have an opinion. So you always have to unlearn few things to learn few new things. Never ask this question to a mother. Of course, being a mother is the best role you can ever play. It's perfectly fine. I don't expect everyone to believe in me or give me a thumbs up. I'm glad there is a backlash. I'm glad there are trolls and memes, because until unless they don't do it, you won't realize that what you're doing is right. Trolls and memes are bound to happen. Backlash is bound to happen, because whenever you're on the right track, people you will have the other side of people who will think differently. And I'm somebody who firmly believes in democracy. I say it's fine. I'm glad you have your rights to oppose. You have your rights to speak against me. So enjoy your freedom. If you give something very concrete to children, then they won't look into the gadget. Unfortunately, I see in many places where the parents do not want to, being bugged by the children, so they hand over a gadget. You keep this iPad, you keep this phone, so that the kids keep playing on the iPhone or iPads, uh, so that they don't bug the parents, and they want to do their own thing. I think you need to understand. You have to involve them into some kind of a game. You have to involve them sitting and watching a film together. Even if it's playing a game, make sure that there's a particular time where you sit and play with them on that. Like me and my kids, we sit and play Ludo together. She might be in her room, I might be in my office or my location. I have time in between. We do spend time together. We play Ludo on the phone, or we play Carrom. So spending time with each other. In today's times, 24/7, you cannot keep looking into what your children are doing. But then it's important that you make them realize that gadget is not everything. Today, in this, after this pandemic, even your classes are online. You don't get to go to school. You have to submit your classes, your theories, everything online. So they are glued onto that. But after that, again, if they're glued onto their gadgets, that's when the problem arises. You need to bring them out. You need to tell them that it's not good for your health. Stay being stuck in one room, sitting in one position. You're going to get a spondylitis, cervical spondylitis very soon. You need to move. You have to keep exercising. You have to make sure that they have something small bites in between, something to drink in between. You need to keep them engaged. You like when I'm doing something, I tend to involve my children in my cooking. My younger one is not interested, but I say, okay, at least come and sit in the kitchen, keep talking to me. And then she'll have her stories. You ask them, what did you do in your class today? What did other students do? It becomes very important that you strike a conversation, you speak to the children, you listen to them. The minute you're a good listener, kids will be less on their gadgets, they will talk to you more. So I think that's very important. We definitely avoid phones. We say no phones. So until unless it's a call from one of the family members, we don't take the calls. We are not on the phones. We're not allowed to check up phones. That way, we are very clear. Most of the time when we are on holidays, we are on our own. We don't check our phones or anything. And people know that I will be if I'm on a holiday with kids, I will be checking on my phone only in late evening, not before that. So we have a set of particular timing where we don't look into the phones, don't check on it. Me being in politics, I need to keep checking, but I try to make sure that I don't take calls or I don't look into my phones when I'm with my kids.